Hello everyone, my name is Ryan Cam and I rewatched The Conjuring 3, The Devil Made Me Do It. This was directed by Michael Chavez, taking over for James Wan in the mainline Conjuring series. And it sees the return of Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga as Ed and Lorraine Warren in what is described as their most horrifying adventure to date. This is an adaptation, if you want to call it, of the infamous The Devil Made Me Do It case, in which a young man named Arnie Johnson committed a grisly murder, and his defense was, The devil made me do it. And so it is up to Ed and Lorraine Warren to investigate what all is going on with that. And they come to find out that this family that Johnson is a part of was sicked upon by a dangerous cult known as the Disciples of the Ram, in which they worship a god that, or a demon, I guess, that demands a human sacrifice. And so it is up to it's up to the Warrens, Lorraine more so than Ed, to find out what's going on. Up to this point, this was the only mainline Conjuring movie that I had seen, and this is the one that people just didn't really care for. I speak to a lot of peers in this space that I know, and the reception to this movie was not great. However, I remember seeing it and liking it fine. However, over time, it kind of, my enjoyment just kind of flatlined. I just didn't care for it at a time. I'm glad I rewatched it because with a fresh rewatch, I can safely say that this is the weakest of the main trilogy, but I still think there's some good things here. The opening of this movie is absolutely stellar, in which the Warrens are trying to help this family commit to this exorcism. The demon just will not let this little boy go. It's stretching this poor boy's spine out. He's doing the crab walk from that Bray Wyatt used to do, rest in peace. Like he's just stretching this boy out to no end. And then Arnie Johnson's like, take me instead. And then the possession like transfers from this boy to Arnie, and I feel like that whole scene was really great, and everything else just kind of hits the skids after that. Ed and Lorraine Warren are great. Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga are great. However, I feel like Patrick Wilson just kind of gets wasted in his involvement in this movie. I feel like this is more so the Lorraine Warren show more than the Ed and Lorraine Warren show. Now, Lorraine Warren throughout these movies has shown that yes, she is very good at her job and she knows what she's doing, and I respect that. But I feel like Ed is just there because he has to be there. Early in the movie, he gets this heart condition where he has to put a stent in and he has to take these pills. And it feels like it just nerfs him for the entire movie to where he's just there to read stuff, provide support, and save his wife from falling off a cliff. Those are like the three things he does. The rest of the time, he's just there. And Lorraine feels like she's doing all the work. And I like Lorraine Warren as a character, but I feel like you have her there. Why have Ed there? Like they come as a package deal, but the movie clearly focuses on Lorraine more so than Ed. So my question is, why is Ed there? Other than he has to be there. And there are some genuinely pretty creepy moments like the opening, but then there's also the stuff I mentioned about the cliff, where Lorraine experiences a vision where she's trying to connect this demon to another case to try and save Arn, who is in the jail, and she sees a ghost running and chases after her. However, the ghost basically tricks her into nearly running off of a cliff, and Ed pretty much has to save her. I thought that was the scariest part of the movie outside of the opening. Of all of the movies where I feel like I just have to be like, okay, yeah, they're clearly like stretching this out to make it more entertaining, this is the one. I feel like there are just so much in this movie where you just look at it and go, this would not fly in any context. Like Arn's in this jail and he has to mop the floor of the sanitarium, and then things just suddenly just break around him and he's in solitary, and the priest gives him a vial of holy water, which is glass, because like yeah, give the man who has said I'm possessed, I may die, a glass bottle. That's a very galaxy brained idea right there, guys. great job. The movie's IQ just like dips to like -20 at certain points in the movie, and it's very frustrating. I think the most frustrating thing for me was the villain, this Disciples of the Ram cult. I feel like you could have done more with this. You only see this one person as the de facto cult representative, and her name is Isla or Isla, I think is so. And I feel like she only has like three scenes on camera, two of which are in flashbacks, and one where she only interacts with Ed. She interacts with the Warrens at the end, but I feel like like she and the Warrens are like two completely separate things from each other until the end. I feel like you could have done more with that, especially since the movie takes place in 1981, where it was like the whole satanic panic thing. I feel like you could have leaned into something like that and maybe bleed it over into Conjuring 4 and maybe one more if you want to go that direction. And the Conjuring movies are coming to an end, so clearly it's not going to happen now, but I feel like of all the villains that we got in the Conjuring universe, I feel like the Disciples of the Ram might be the one that I would put in the most wasted potential. Because we've gotten like demonic nuns, killer dolls. I feel like if you have like a cult of like people that worship like these demons and then sick them on random people, have the Warrens go and fight them. I don't know. I'm not a screenwriter. I'm not even close, but I'm spitballing here. At the end of the day, though, this movie's not out and out terrible. It's watchable. I'm going to give it a good rating. There's definitely some scary moments here and strong performances, predictably, from Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga. However, you definitely feel like, though, we have this very strong, like, notable demonic case, but not enough meat on the bones, so you gotta, like, guss it up a bit to make it even slightly tense. And it definitely feels like the real beginning of the we need to really make sure that this is as close to tense as possible. Like it stretches. I'll just leave it at that. Me personally, I'm hoping for the best for Conjuring 4. However, I am a bit nervous because this is being seen as the one that ended it all for the Warrens, and you see Valak and Annabelle in the teaser trailers. I'm like, I'm not sure because the Nun movies and the Annabelle movies are mostly terrible except for Annabelle creation. So, not excited to see them back, but I am optimistic. What did you think of The Conjuring 3, though? Let me know in the comments. I would love to read what you have to say. My name is Ryan Cam, and I'll see you in the next one.